Hello, this is Jay Black with the Winter Springs Dental Lab. I would like to thank Serona for letting me introduce to you the new InLab 4.2 software. It's an amazing update, giving us some new tools that allow us to be more efficient. We now have a virtual articulator, which can help us reduce finishing times at the lab and chairside. We have a new design mode called Multilayer Definition, where we can split a full contour design restoration into an upper veneering structure and lower framework structure in multiple sections. We have a new bridge abutment multi-layer feature where we can split our full contour bridges into bridge work and separate custom abutments, all from one scan. Serona has also introduced Smile Design, which allows us to import a passport type photo of the patient and integrate it with our 3D model so we can virtually try in our restorations. These are just a few of the new features we have available to us. Hopefully after this webinar you'll be able to know where everything is and get started with your software right away. After entering your patient information, the first screen you're going to come to is called the administration phase. In this step, you're going to let the software know exactly what you want to do for this particular case. You can design multiple restorations at the same time using any design mode and material you want. After letting the software know what you want to do, you're going to go ahead and scan your case and then proceed to the model phase. In this step, we're telling the software where the base of our model is and the orientation of our model in our arch. Positioning the model properly is the key to getting better initial proposals. So what you want to do is grab your model, put it on our horseshoe. Right here we have our midline. And as a guide, you want to align your lower incisal edges and the cusp tips of your molars on this line. Once you have it positioned properly, hit OK. Next thing that we want to do is activate our articulation function. A few important things to keep in mind is the software uses an average value articulator and it is set using our lower arch. You need to make sure you have proper bite contacts with no penetration, and if possible, capture as much information as you can, imaging to the contralateral if possible. The first time you load your software, you want to go up to the configuration menu, click on options, and then articulation. Make sure use articulation is set to active, and then use articulation for initial proposal. I like to keep it at no. You only have to set that one time. Next, we'll come over to our articulation icon and we'll review our parameters for our articulator. You can change these if you want, but I usually leave them where they're set. Next, we'll exit the articulator and proceed to the next step. Next thing we want to do is draw our margins for all of our restorations. Once we've completed that step, we want to define the insertion axis for each restoration. The insertion axis is how the restoration sits inside of the block. You remove any undercuts by grabbing on this little yellow circle here. You want to remove as much color as you can from the preps. That looks good. Go ahead and hit OK. Next, it'll bring you to your parameter step. If you're doing multiple restorations at the same time and you want them all to propose at the same time, you need to bring each one of them to this step before hitting Calculate Restoration. Next, the software will calculate all of our proposals at the same time using the biogeneric software. It looks at the neighboring teeth. Now that we have our proposals, I want to go through some of the new tools that we have in the InLab 4.2 software. First, we'll start with our framework. If you bring up our tool wheel, we now have a new tool called the Scale tool. With the Scale tool, you can scale occlusally or radially. We'll start with radially first. You can scale just a part of your band or scale the whole thing. We'll do scale whole. You can make your band wider or narrower, 360 degrees, or you can turn off scale whole and just choose a section You want to scale radially. We have scale occlusal. We'll do scale whole first. If you want to bring up your entire band, you can do that. Or let's just say you want to bring up one particular area, then you would uncheck the scale whole. Choose how much of it you want to scale. If you just wanted to bring up this one section, you could. Or bring it down. We still have our add, remove, and smooth tools, as well as our circular 2-direction if you wanted to add a marginal ridge or something like that. The first tool that I want to show you for full contour restorations is called biogeneric variation. Let's say you wanted a different anatomy than what your biogeneric proposal gave you. Right click, click on biogeneric variation. On the right hand side of the screen, you can control your different type of anatomy by moving your mouse up and down. Find an anatomy that you like, let go of your left click button, and it's going to repropose your crown using that anatomy. The next tool I want to show you is the position and rotate tool. They've been combined into one tool, which makes designing a lot more efficient. You can rotate your crown in any direction using these arrows. Just grab onto a curved arrow to rotate it. If you want to move your restoration, you grab onto one of the straight arrows. Move it mesial distally. Or if you want to move the crown as a whole, grab onto the square in the middle of the arrows. Now you can move your restoration in any direction you want. We still have the add, smooth, and remove tools. So let's say we wanted to smooth a particular area. You can control the intensity of how much you smooth by right-clicking and moving your mouse up and down. So if you just want to smooth a small area, you can toggle between the remove, smooth, and add tools using your spacebar, or by clicking over here on the side. Next tool that we have is the reduce tool. Let's say we wanted to do a coping for a PFM or zirconia coping. We design our crown full contour, come over to reduction strength. Let's say we want to reduce the crown by 0.63 millimeters. Let go. Now we have an anatomically shaped coping with proper support for our porcelain. Let's say we just wanted to reduce the buccal area of our crown and do a metal occlusal or a zirconia occlusal. We're going to reduce partial. Double click to start your line. Say we just wanted to reduce the buccal of our crown. Come over to reduction strength. Move your mouse up. Now we have a nice window area to put some facial porcelain. The tool that I use for most of my designing is called the shape tool. With the shape tool, you have the anatomical and circular functions. First, we'll start with anatomical. You have 4-direction and 2-direction. Let's say you just wanted to move a cusp. Bring it in. Say we want to bring this one out. You can move areas of the crown using that tool. With 2-direction, it's a global movement if you want to bring the whole buccal out, or to open or close a contact. The circular 2-direction just moves a particular area of your restoration. It moves it in the direction of your arrow. So whichever direction your arrow is pointing, that's the direction it's going to move. You can control how much of the crown you move right over here on the scale tool, or the scale size. Or you can right click, move your mouse up and down. You see that orange area getting smaller and larger. Let's say you just want to move a small area. If you wanted to move a larger area, you'd increase that orange color. I like to use this tool for raising marginal ridges, getting down high spots, closing contacts, can raise cusps. For our anterior restorations, we have a new tool as well in the InLab 4.2 software. It's called the incisal variation tool. It allows us to put facial anatomy in our anterior crowns. Just right click and bring up our tool wheel. Click on incisal variation. A strength indicator wheel comes up on the right hand side of the screen. Just left click. Move your mouse up and down. You can control how much facial anatomy you put into your crowns. If you reduce it a lot, you could even use this for virtual cutbacks to add incisal later. Once you have the anatomy you like, you can also come over to the crown and move that anatomy anywhere on the crown you want. Next, I want to go over our articulation feature in the new InLab 4.2 software. In the past, we only could see what our occlusal contacts were in centric occlusion. Now we can see interferences that may occur during other movements using our occlusal compass. Different colors represent different movements of our virtual articulator. Of course, it's always important to get as much data as you can so that the non-working side movements are accurately recorded. You can click on articulation animation and see exactly where these interferences are occurring and in which movement. It will greatly reduce the amount of finishing time we have at the lab and, more importantly, chairside. These are extremely valuable tools on cases with physical models and, more importantly, with modelless cases we receive through Strona Connect. The next new feature of the InLab 4.2 software I want to go over is called Multilayer Definition. How Multilayer works is you design the bridge or crown full contour, then you're going to split it and reduce it into an upper veneering structure in a lower framework material. Multilayer can be used for a variety of materials. In this particular example, we're going to do a cat-on. Let's say for number 3, there's not a lot of clearance and we want the lower framework to be full zirconia. Number 3, we want a full contour zirconia abutment. Then the framework on the bottom is going to be zirconia as well. The upper veneering structure for the 2 bicuspids we're going to make out of Emax. So if I just want this particular molar to be full zirconia and not have a top Emax part, simply click on the down arrow. Now we're letting the software know we want a full contour zirconia crown for number 3, a framework for number 4 and 5, and an upper veneering structure we're going to do out of Emax. These two will be splinted together. If we wanted to do separate Emax crowns on the top, we would click the down arrow there. So now we would have a framework on the bottom, 3 units, and 2 separate Emax crowns on the top. Could be any material you want to do. For this particular case, we're going to go ahead and splint the top layer. So once we choose our designation, go ahead and hit OK. We'll design our bridge full contour. When we want to split it, we right click, click on split. Our split line will come up. We can edit this line if we want. If we're happy, hit apply. The software will now calculate the 2 pieces. Once we have our split, you can toggle between the upper and lower parts by clicking down here. We'll bring them both to the mill preview. Here we have our upper Emax 2-unit split. We'll bring our lower framework into the mill preview as well. Here's our full contour zirconia on our framework. And we'll connect the two together using the cat-on process. This next design mode that I'm going to talk about is very exciting. It allows you to design a bridge and custom abutments all from the same scan. We're going to design the bridge full contour and then split it into lower custom abutments and an upper bridge. How this works is you choose Bridge Abutment Multilayer, designate your abutments and your conics. Next thing you're going to do is select your scan body type. If you're doing it off of a model, you're going to choose tie base. If intraorally, you're going to choose scan post. Next, you'll select which implant manufacturer you're going to use. If you choose Sirona, all the different implant manufacturers are down here at the bottom. Click on the implant type that you're using. For this particular case, we're using Nobel Biocare Replace Select 3.5. Choose that for each of your implants. Select your milling device. So you can see here we're going to do an upper bridge and two lower custom abutments. Next, you're going to select your veneering material. This will be for your upper bridge. And then your framework material. This will be a meso block out of zirconia. Go ahead and hit OK. Next thing you're going to do is scan your case in. What you want to do is you want to scan in your lower gingival mask catalog. Go ahead and scan with no parts in. Just scan your tissue. Next, what you want to do is put in your tie base or scan post along with your scan bodies. Go ahead and scan that as well. Once you have your scans, the two folders will merge together. And go ahead and go to your model phase. Next thing you'll do is set your model axis. Hit OK. Go ahead and arrow forward. First thing you want to do is draw your margins for your conics for number 24 and number 25. Next thing you want to do is trim out your scan bodies. We'll start with number 23. We'll do the same for number 26. Our next step, which is in red, is click Scan Body Head. What you want to do is click right on the top of the pyramid. Go ahead and do the same for number 23. Next thing you want to do is edit your baseline. We'll start with number 23. You're letting the software know where you want the margin to be. Do the same for 26. Alright, next you're going to define your restoration axis. The two abutments will parallel each other. Go ahead and hit OK when you're ready. Next, you're going to come to your parameters step. You're going to have a top layer set of parameters and also a bottom layer set of parameters. We'll start with our gingival depth. This blue line that we drew earlier, if we keep this at 0, our margin will propose right where we drew that line. Let's say we want to go 0.5 millimeter below the gum line. Go ahead and move to 0.5 millimeter. Gingival placement pressure, this is how much pressure the abutment is going to have on the tissue. You can adjust that to wherever you want. Next we have shoulder width. This is how wide you want your shoulder to be on your abutment. When you have your parameters set where you want, go ahead and hit OK. The software is now going to go ahead and give you your proposal. Once you get your proposal, go ahead and make any modifications you wish to your bridge. You can check any excursive interferences and go ahead and take them out at that time. Turn on articulation animation. See where those interferences are occurring. Next, you're ready to split your bridge. You right click on the restoration, click on split, and your split line will come up. You can turn on your lower gingiva. That line is 0.5 millimeter below the gum line from where you drew it before. Go ahead and hit apply. The software is now going to split it into an upper veneering structure and lower framework structure, being your custom abutments. At this time, you can go ahead and make any modifications you want to your abutments. When you're through, go ahead and send them both to the mill preview. So now you have your custom abutment ready to mill. Pull in our other one. And our upper bridge. So now we have a full contour 4-unit bridge and 2 custom abutments all from the same file. Very exciting stuff. The next new feature with the InLab 4.2 software that I want to go over is Sirona's introduction of Smile Design. Smile Design allows you to merge a passport type image of the patient with your model to help you virtually try in your restorations with the patient's face. How you get started is in the administration phase. You want to come over to Case Options, activate Smile Design. Next, you'll go to your Model Axis screen. Once you're in your model axis screen and have set your model axis on the horseshoe, go ahead and click on Smile Design. Go ahead and choose your photo that you've saved to your desktop. You want a passport type photo with the patient smiling. Once you choose your photo, over on the left side of the screen, we have our blue avatar. There's 16 feature points we need to choose. You'll see the yellow arrow pointing to the spot on your image you need to click. the nose, the ears, the jaw, and the chin. Next, we have our lateral canthi distance. This is the distance between the edges of the eyes. If you have that measurement, go ahead and change it here. Next, you'll align the jaw. It's best to have a biocopy image for help with this step. Once our model comes up, we'll go ahead and position it where it needs to go. Once you have your model into position, you want to click on Guideline. The guidelines can help you by giving you reference points you can pull up at any time during your design. How it works is you'll click on which guideline you want to move. You can group them or ungroup them. If you ungroup them, you can move them one at a time. Set your midline. Click on this one. So you want to put it at the distal of your laterals. You can move the occlusal guideline. Let's say you want to put it at the incisal edges. Once you have that set, you can go ahead and proceed with your design. At any time during your design, you can bring up your Smile Design feature. Just click on Display Objects, Smile Design. You can make sure you're going in the right direction. Say we wanted to add some facial anatomy to our crowns. We can link 7 through 10 together if we want. Just click on Link, Group. Click the link next to each tooth. Pull up our incisal variation tool. Let's add a little bit of facial anatomy to these. That looks good. We can pull up our guidelines to make sure we're going in the right direction in our analyzing tool. Just click on Guidelines. Again, I want to thank Serona for letting me introduce to you the new InLab 4.2 software. It's just amazing how far we've come. With these new features, we can become more efficient in our designs, leading us to better outcomes for our laboratory, our dentists, and most importantly, for our patients. Thank you very much.